inheritance and variation. Now this particular lesson is related with a branch named genetics from biology. Now let us understand first what is genetics and some introductory part, and then I will move on with the laws put forth by Mendel and other things. Now let us first understand what is genetics. Now genetics, it is the branch of biology that deals with study of heredity and variations. Okay? Now understand first what is heredity and variations. Now I will give you an example. Suppose you have seeds of mango plant with you. Sow those seeds and see what happens. Or very simple is, suppose you have got some fenugreek seeds or seeds of coriander. Sow those seeds and see which type of plants are obtained in the next generation. Or when a female cat gives birth, obviously in the next generation a young cat is born. In the previous examples, if you sow fenugreek seeds, plants obtained are going to be fenugreek. So here what I am trying to explain is, in case of living organisms, certain characters are passed on from one generation to the other, and that is why when reproduction takes place, you will find some degree of resemblance between parents and offsprings, and that is referred as heredity. So heredity means transmission of characters from one generation to other. Okay, so some characters will be passed on from parents to offsprings. But I will take example of human beings. Now, in a family, when children are born, this concept of heredity can be seen. That is, characters of parents and characters of offsprings, that is children, if they are compared, there will be resemblance found. But even though there is resemblance, you will not find parents and children as replicas or clones, or I would say Xerox copies of each other. So resemblance is there, but it is not 100% similarity. There are differences found. The externally, say, height of the children as compared to their parents, then facial features could be different, then nature, intelligence level, all these characters are going to be different as compared to the parents. So that is called variations. Even there are siblings, two brothers, two sisters, brother, sister. Even though their biological parents are same, still the two people, those two individuals will show different characters, little different from each other, and that is called variations. So here, in case of variations, there are differences observed between individuals or in a population of the same species. Now this same species word is going to be very important. Okay, so this is how genetics deals with heredity and variation. Now, for the first time, a systematic study of genetics was done by a person or a scientist, and his name is Gregor Mendel. Actually, he was a priest, but out of curiosity and out of interest, he did many experiments on plants, and that's how he realized that I mean, between the two generations, there are similarities, at the same time there are differences, and that's how he carried further with his experiments, formulated all his results systematically, and because of his great contribution to the field of genetics, he is called father of genetics. Of course, this is long back. That time when Mendel started doing his experiments, the term gene was not known. So we can say Mendel was much ahead of time. He realized that there is something inside organism or inside cells which is responsible for this heredity and variation. At that time, since word or the term gene was not coined, that was not in use, Mendel used word or the term factor. So, at the time of Mendel, term gene was not used. Mendel used terminology, that is factors. So, this is how, because of the great contribution, he is called father of genetics. But Mendel's work was not recognized, it was not noticed when he was alive. Later, much later, after Mendel's death, his work was rediscovered, because on the similar lines, other scientists, they performed experiments and they realized that this kind of work, similar work, has already been done by Mendel long ago, and that's how Mendel's work was brought into the light, and he received a proper recognition, but that was after his death. Now, Mendel started doing experiments on the plant named garden pea. So, this was the plant chosen, garden pea by Mendel, and its botanical or its scientific name is Pisum sativum. Now, Mendel focused on some of the important characters from this particular plant. Now, initially, Mendel also tried out experiments on other plants, but he was more successful as far as garden pea plant is concerned, or this Pisum sativum. So later, Mendel continued to perform his experiments on the same plant. Now, have a look at the board. Here, I have written some of the traits which were focused by Mendel for his experiments from garden pea plant. Stem height. Now, in garden pea plant, for every character, there are two extreme cases observed. Let's see what those extremities are. Now, stem height. As far as height of pea plant is concerned, there possibilities, that is, plant will be either tall or short, that is dwarf. No medium height plants will be observed. So tall or dwarf. Then seed shape, round or wrinkled. Seed color, yellow or green. Pod shape, inflated or constricted. Then pod color, green or yellow. Flower color, pure purple or white. And flower location, axial or terminal. You can also find these characters given in the textbook. So you can refer page number 49. So with pictures, relevant pictures, these traits are explained. So you can have a look at those traits for better understanding. Now in garden pea plant, another thing that happened coincidentally was, for all these characters, you will find only two contrasts. Like see here, tall stem or short, no medium height plants. Round or wrinkled seeds, no other shape. So, because of all these characters having only two extremities or contrasts, it was very easy for Mendel to perform his experiments. Now let us see few more other reasons where, because of those reasons, Mendel was more successful, and that is why he continued his experiments with garden pea plant. The first character is this Pisum sativum has got a short life cycle. That is, life cycle is completed in 3 to 4 months. So, if we consider period of 12 months, that is 1 year, Mendel could study 3 to 4 generations of garden pea plant. And that's why, because more data was available, he could collect lot of data, he was more successful. So short life cycle is first reason. Second reason is this garden pea plant has got large size flowers. So here experiments, that is pollination experiment and fertilization, was done manually by Mendel. It was not a natural process. So that's why for manual work, for manual pollination, if flowers are sufficiently large, it is very useful. And here that helped Mendel. Large size flower favored artificial cross pollination. Along with cross pollination, garden pea flowers also are pollinated by self method, that is self as well as cross pollination, both are seen. Then very fast next generation is obtained, and especially after this cross fertilization or pollination as well as self pollination, the seeds obtained in the next generation, their number is large. So large number of seeds are obtained. Seeds are viable. Viable meaning if you sow those seeds, they will germinate successfully to produce new plants. That's the next generation. So viability of seeds, the rate of viability was good, and that's why Mendel could obtain next generation and observe this inheritance pattern of characters. Plus, in case of garden pea plant, as I have mentioned, there are only two contrasts. no intermediate phenotypes, no intermediate expressions. That is, I'll go back to the example tall and dwarf. So either tall or short, that is dwarf. No medium height plants. Now having a medium height is intermediate character, that is, it is between tall and short. So such phenotypes or such expressions were not seen in garden pea plant. And these were the few reasons why Mendel chose garden pea plant finally for his experiments. Okay, so in the exam you may even get a question on reasons why Mendel chose garden pea plant. Even you have to remember all these traits. Now, the thing is, let us assume if Mendel chooses one plant to be tall, that is one parent to be tall, and other parent to be dwarf. Tall and dwarf are the two parents in the experiment or in the cross. And then in the next generation, what was the observation of Mendel? He observed that in the next generation, plants are only tall. So, even though out of the two parents, one was tall and other was dwarf, in the next generation, only tall plants were observed or they were found. So, here what is happening is, when tall is crossed with dwarf and the next generation is only tall, now it can be said that tall character or the trait dominates dwarf trait completely. Now domination means here tall is not allowing dwarf to express. Now express means what? We see the effect. When we will see the effect of dwarf, the plant is going to be short or dwarf. But here, because of presence of the tall trait, dwarf is suppressed. Dwarf character is not allowed to show its effect. So, tall is dominating dwarf completely. Now, going back to the list of the traits, you will find that for every character, the first one, tall, round seed, yellow color of the seed, inflated pod, green pod, purple flower, and axial position of the flower. All these characters are dominant characters. Means, in their presence, if they are there, they will express and they will not allow the other character to express. That is dwarf, wrinkled seed, green seed, constricted pod, yellow pod, white flowers and terminal flowers. They will not be allowed to express when the other character in the pair is present. Okay, so that's how you will find that all these are dominant. So I am writing D for dominant, and other ones are recessive. So R. Now, plant is tall, flowers are purple, Okay, now phenotype is a term. Phenotype means external appearance of an individual. So here for garden pea plant, tall, dwarf, purple flowers, yellow seeds, green pods, these are all externally observable characters. Even in other organisms, we will find many other such characters. Like suppose if we are talking about a cat, skin color is white, skin color can be brown, or in case of say suppose animal like zebra, there are stripes black and white. So I am talking about phenotype of those organisms. In case of human beings, suppose hair are black, hair are curly, straight hair, white skin. So these are external characters, that means it is phenotype. Now, in case of garden pea plant, here what Mendel did was, for simplicity, to understand which is a dominant character and which is a recessive character, a very simple method was used, and that is assigning some alphabet to the character. So here you will find that for same height, alphabet is T. But now you know that between tall and dwarf, one is dominant and one is recessive. So the method or the way to denote dominant and recessive, dominant is capital T, same letter will be used, but lowercase form to denote dwarf as recessive. So when you write capital T, it means tall, and if you write small t, it means dwarf. So this is how you can see letter R for seed shape, Y for seed color, letter I for pod shape, G for pod color, then C for flower color, and letter A for flower position. And everywhere you will find that wherever capital letters are written, all those traits are going to be dominant, and their counterpart, their other extreme character, is going to be recessive. So for every recessive character, you will find that the same letter in the lowercase form is written. Okay, so you have to remember this particular method of writing characters, and this writing letter is genotype. That means when I say plant is tall, I can see externally that plant is tall. But why it is tall? Because inside there are going to be genes present which are making that plant tall. On the other hand, if I see a dwarf plant, that plant will have some special genes inside, and because of effect of those genes, that plant is not growing tall, it remains short. So that is genotype, that is genetic makeup of organism. Okay, so learn this, revise this particular part very well. Next time we will see further things related